What if I told you that the most documented medium in American history revealed something revolutionary about what happens to the soul during cremation? Something that challenges not only beliefs, but also deep fears many have regarding death and fire. Imagine that the fire consuming the physical body doesn't destroy consciousness, but simply acts as an energetic bridge, accelerating a transformation most have never understood. Have you ever stopped to think what truly happens to your essence when the physical body is exposed to fire? Does the soul suffer, or does it find a path of purification and progress? Today, thanks to Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, we have access to astonishing information revealed in thousands of readings between 1901 and 1944 that can change your view on death, cremation, and spiritual life. Before we go on, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts on this delicate topic in the comments. Your participation helps create a community of debate and learning where together we'll explore the mysteries of the afterlife. But prepare yourself, because what you're about to discover might deconstruct many myths and open doors to a much deeper understanding of existence. I guarantee that by the end of this video, you'll never see cremation the same way again, and perhaps even find comfort and hope where there was once only doubt. Before we dive into the revelations, it's important to understand who Edgar Cayce was and why his words still hold weight today. Born in 1877, Edgar Cayce became one of the most studied and documented psychic mediums in United States history. He performed psychic readings in a trance state, offering answers about health, spirituality, and the workings of the universe that impressed not only his contemporaries but also modern scholars. What sets Cayce apart from many other mediums is the rigor of his documentation. Each of his readings was meticulously recorded, analyzed, cataloged, and archived. There are over 14,000 readings with detailed information, making his revelations accessible for research and verification. That's why what we're about to reveal isn't based on speculation or superstition, but on data collected from a professional who spent decades giving voice to profound spiritual messages. His readings on what happens to consciousness during and after cremation are particularly fascinating. Cayce stated that the soul detaches from the body moments before the physical burning process, and that fire, far from being a villain, acts as a tool of purification that helps the soul advance on its journey. He linked this to a universal spiritual law, the idea that everything in the universe undergoes processes of transformation, where physical energy is dissolved to promote spiritual evolution. Having this authority reinforces the quality and reliability of what we're about to discuss. When we talk about soul, death, and cremation, we're not just dealing with ancient beliefs, but with documented insights that can fundamentally alter our relationship with the finitude of the body. Today I'm going to share with you 3 surprising discoveries Edgar Cayce made about the soul during the cremation process. These revelations can unravel deep enigmas and help dispel ancient fears, bringing light to the unknown. First revelation: consciousness separates from the body before cremation. This means that when the fire begins to consume the body, the soul is already in another state, freed from physical restraints. The body is just a vessel, and its destruction doesn't affect the true essence we carry. Second revelation: the fire of cremation is a transforming and purifying agent. More than just burning matter, it acts on a subtle energy, facilitating the cleansing of impressions and blockages the soul might carry. It's a renewal process that favors connection with higher spiritual planes. Third revelation: cremation influences the timing of reincarnation. Cayce clarifies that the moment the soul returns to a new life is related to the purification process and the final detachment of bodily energy. The treatment of the body after death has a direct impact on this spiritual cycle, and cremation acts to accelerate the metamorphosis before the next existence. These discoveries are much more than empty spiritual explanations. They are answers that can bring profound comfort to those who face the fear of death or choices about the physical body's destiny. By understanding these points, your view of life, death, and beyond can expand in a transformative way. So these revelations aren't just theoretical. Let's explore some real, documented stories that Cayce shared in his human and touching readings. which perfectly illustrate how the soul experiences this. In one of the readings, Cayce recounts the case of a person who had expressed great fear of cremation to their family when they were near death. During the psychic reading after their passing, it became clear that, at the exact moment of cremation, this soul was at peace, feeling liberated and light, as if leaving a cocoon behind. They explained, through the transmitted message, that fire was not destruction, but passage, a cleansing that prepared their next state. Another account emphasizes a vision described by Cayce. The soul, upon leaving the body, feels a radiance that grows as the fire purifies the physical body. It's as if the spirit, now conscious and free from matter, is accompanied by a luminous energy that guides it to a higher phase of learning and healing. These stories serve to illustrate that we are not talking about abstract concepts, but about experiences lived and recognized on a plane perceptible by mediums and sensitive people, reiterating that cremation is part of a natural spiritual cycle and should not be a cause for fear or taboo. Now I ask you, have you ever had an unexplainable experience or feeling related to death, goodbyes, or the body? Share in the comments, as your story can help many others reframe their own fears. To truly understand what Edgar Cayce revealed about the soul during cremation, it's essential that we translate these spiritual concepts, which can seem so abstract, into images that make sense for our daily lives. After all, talking about the soul, consciousness, and energy isn't always easy, so let's use some simple analogies. Imagine your body is like a house, and your soul is its inhabitant. The house is where the inhabitant lives, but it isn't the inhabitant itself. If the house is destroyed, the inhabitant doesn't disappear. They simply leave, find another place to live, or voluntarily decide to abandon that space to grow somewhere else. That's what the body is. It's the temporary physical dwelling of our consciousness. Now, think of the cremation process as a deep renovation of that house. The old house is demolished by fire, which removes old furniture, worn-out walls, preparing the ground for something new. But in this metaphor, the inhabitant is no longer inside the house when the fire starts. They've already left, because they know their time there is up, and a new stage is approaching. Another powerful example to understand the function of fire is the purification of gold. Fire can burn away dirt, remove impurities, leaving the raw metal purer and shinier. Similarly, the energy of fire cleanses the impurities the soul may be carrying, facilitating its ascension and progress to higher spiritual planes. If the body were clothes, the soul would be the person wearing them. When the clothes wear out, tear, or are burned, the person continues to exist, free and seeking new clothes, a new body. These comparisons help break down the fear of transformation generated by cremation, showing that what truly matters is not the material casing, but the conscious being that resides beyond it. Had you ever thought of the soul and body in this way? Comment here on what this image of the inhabitant and the house made you feel. Cremation still evokes much anxiety and misconceptions in our society. It's natural. After all, we deal with the fear of death, of the unknown, and for many, the idea of fire consuming the body triggers a visceral feeling of loss and suffering. But Edgar Cayce invites us to look at these fears with a clear, grounded, and hopeful perspective. One of the most common myths is that the soul suffers in the fire, that the process of physical body destruction would also entail spiritual pain, suffering, or even punishment. None of this is confirmed by his documented readings or by other reliable spiritualist doctrines. On the contrary, Cayce explains that the soul is already fully detached at the moment of cremation, feeling no physical or energetic harm whatsoever. Another frequent fear is that cremation could burn the soul, hindering its evolution or return in a new life. It may seem contradictory, but cremation in fact positively influences the spiritual journey, helping the soul break free from attachments to the body and earthly desires. This accelerates the transition process, facilitating a faster and more serene rebirth. There is also the myth that cremation can interfere with the energies of the spiritual body, causing blockages or confusion for the soul. Cayce reassures us by stating that fire is a purifying force that dissolves dense and heavy energies, rather than creating obstacles. Furthermore, when we talk about spiritualism and beliefs in reincarnation, Many people believe that natural burial is better to ensure the soul's protection. But Cayce's readings reveal that the way the body is treated after death is a less important detail than the spiritual consciousness the person developed throughout their life. What truly matters is the internal journey, the growth of the being, and not the physical destiny of what remains. Understanding these myths and debunking them is essential so that we can look at death and cremation with more loving, serene, and informed eyes. Have you had any of these fears or heard someone talk about them? Share your experience, because by sharing we help transform fear into knowledge. To keep you with me and ensure this information sinks deep into your thoughts, I want to ask some important questions, and I really want you to think about them, because they are fundamental to your process of self-knowledge and evolution. Have you ever felt the need to understand something greater about death, something that goes beyond fear and social taboos? Have you been through situations where saying goodbye to a loved one opened a deep wound in your soul? What was that experience like? Did you feel a presence after their physical absence? Write it down in the comments. Your story can transform not only your view, but also that of others seeking answers. These questions act like little triggers in our minds. They create a bridge between the information you're receiving and your deepest emotions. It's a powerful way to keep you engaged, because when we connect new information with our personal experiences, learning becomes more meaningful. I also want you to reflect. If the soul doesn't suffer during the cremation process, how would this information change your fear of death or how you face grief? Do you think knowing this can bring more peace to difficult moments? I'll also invite you to interact with the video. Leave a comment with your answer, your doubts, or even your own perceptions about the topic, soul and death. The more you participate, the stronger this community we want to build becomes, based on understanding and support. Before we move on to the next topics, take a moment with me and take a deep breath. Think about what you've heard so far and ask for this message to reach your heart with tranquility and clarity. These 3 topics deepen understanding through clear imagery, debunk fundamental myths that block curiosity and acceptance, and engage you, the viewer, with direct questions that spark reflection. We can already see how the script progressively creates a more intimate and authentic connection. Now that you understand Edgar Cayce's revelations about cremation and what happens to the soul during this process, let's reflect together on the practical implications of this wisdom for your life, your choices, and your spirituality. First, imagine living life with a new awareness of death. Without fear, but with a deep acceptance that the body is just a temporary vehicle and that the soul lives beyond the physical, free to continue its evolutionary journey. This shift in perspective can transform your days, helping you to value the present more, cultivate relationships with more love, and surrender with less attachment to material things. But it doesn't stop there. The clear understanding that the cremation flame acts as a purifying agent can also motivate spiritual practices that aid the soul in its transition process, even before death. For example, regular meditation can help elevate your energetic vibration, preparing your consciousness for any transformation that may occur. Sending prayers and blessings to those who have passed, especially those for whom cremation was the chosen method, can help alleviate any possible attachment and accelerate the soul's purification process. It's also worth reflecting on how this wisdom can influence the way you talk with your family about post-life decisions. By understanding that cremation doesn't bring spiritual suffering, but can be a path of light and evolution for those who depart, it will be easier to approach the topic with serenity and even empathy. And finally, this new perspective helps dissolve the taboo surrounding cremation, transforming something that is often a source of pain and confusion into an act of respect and love for the cycle of existence. It's an invitation to view death as a portal of renewal, a moment of passage that can be embraced with courage. Now I invite you to think, if you could keep this message for the rest of your life, how would it impact your relationship with death and the meaning of your existence here on earth? Put your answer in the comments as your reflection inspires others. If you felt that this video has brought something valuable to your understanding of life, death, and spirituality so far, I have a very special request for you. First, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to not miss any other content that explores the deepest mysteries of the universe and the soul. Also, leave a like, because that really helps spread these teachings to more people who, like you, seek real and comforting answers about death and cremation. But most importantly, participate in the comments here. Tell us your doubts, share your experiences, talk about what you think could change in your life or how you view death after learning all this. Let's create a community of people open to spiritual growth, who embrace the unknown with love and knowledge. Furthermore, if you know someone who fears death or suffers at the thought of cremation as a painful process for the soul, send this video to them. Helping people find peace and hope is an act of love. And finally, I want to remind you that you are not alone on this journey. We are all part of a grand spiritual story, where the end of a physical life is the beginning of a new stage. Let's walk together, learning and sharing. To conclude, I want to leave you with a profound reflection that comes directly from Edgar Cayce's words, an invitation for each of us to connect with the greater mystery of existence. The soul does not die, it simply changes form, releasing experiences and evolving to higher planes of understanding. Think about it. What if death wasn't an end, but a reunion? A moment of reunion with the light that has always been within you, which cannot be destroyed by fire or time. If this truth could guide you in moments of fear, sadness, or loss, what would your relationship with life be like? Cremation, fire, the separation of body and consciousness, all of this is part of a sacred dance in the cosmos, where the soul moves towards freedom. And that freedom is a gift you can carry forever. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to access more stories like this. So be inspired, live with more courage, love with more intensity, and embrace the passage of life with serenity. Because beyond the physical, there is something much greater waiting to be discovered. And that discovery begins within you. Thank you so much for being here until the end. May this message bring you light and peace, today and always.